Okay, welcome back, everyone. Josh Weber here, co founder and CEO of Big Red Jelly. Today, we're going to talk about chapter 5 in the brand proven process. Let's review quickly the chapters that came before this, right? So, brand discovery, brand research, guiding idea, brand DNA, and now we're going to talk about brand core. Okay, so a lot of people get confused on what the difference is between brand DNA and brand core. We're still on the internal brand. Okay, so when we build brands and when you build your brand, you want to build it from the inside out, right? You don't want to jump right to your logo, visual identity, messaging when you haven't really solidified your internal brand. So, brand DNA, in my opinion, and what we kind of evangelize here at Big Red Jelly is brand DNA is very founder owner focused, right? That's why it's ideal for founders or owners to get together, maybe an executive team, and say, what's our why? What's our brand positioning, right? Who do we serve? Where are we going? That usually comes from the top, right? Then you that bleeds into the brand core, which is where you get your employees and your team on board. So that's the only real difference here, right? You have to start from the founder, the owner, the ethos of the brand, get that locked in, get your leadership rowing in the same direction. Then that goes to the next level out, which is getting your employees on board, right? So we're going to talk about brand core, and there are 6 deliverables. Okay, there are 6 things we're going to talk about. I'm going to go rapid fire through these. I'm going to explain what it is, why it's important, and then how to develop this thing. Okay, so in brand core, the first deliverable, and these are probably in order, by the way. At least this is what I would tell a client, because when you get one locked in, it's going to be easier for you to do the next thing. So the first deliverable in brand core is the core value, right? So core values, I think this is one that we've heard of probably more frequently, right? So what are core values? These are important principles by which your company operates, right? I want you to ask yourself this question: what are some of the attributes, characteristics, or values that you hire for, that you fire for, and that you promote people for, right? Every company has core values. And here's the truth: if you don't define your core values, they will be defined for you and almost always at your detriment. So make sure you define your core values and make those clear. So, why are they important, right? There's a lot of data out there. There's several reasons why these are important. I mean, number one, above all else, it gives you and your employees a guiding star by which you know how to make important decisions, right? Your core values could guide you in, hey, is this a client that we want to work with? Do they align with our core values, right? It helps you with hiring, it helps you with firing, it helps you with promoting, it helps you with making those tough decisions because you can ask yourself, you can fall back on, is this in line with what we value as a company? The second reason why it's important is, especially for younger generations, the data's out. Employees want to work for a company that has clear values that align with their values, right? You spend probably the majority of your life, I think, at work, at least during a certain period. And of course, you want to work somewhere where they have similar values to what you have, right? They might not be identical, but they're going to be similar. So identify your core values and share them with your team. How do you identify your core values, right? There's a lot of different tools and tactics, and maybe we can link to some of those in the description. But just ask yourself these questions: what are the values that are important to you as a business owner? And ask that question to your employees, right? Have a group session. I hesitate doing surveys all the time. Maybe you can send out a survey if you're a huge company, but bring your company together, do a little bit of a hands-on workshop and say, what are some of the values that are most important to you? And you'll probably start to see some patterns of the people that you've curated for your dream team. So core values. Number two is mission statement, and I'll be a little bit more brief here. So what is a mission statement? For me, my definition is, this is what we're doing now. This is who we serve, and this is why it matters, right? So it's a little bit more day to day. Every company or team or group, cohort needs a mission. It's what gets people fired up. It's what guides people and hey, what are we doing every day? Right? When things get chaotic and stressful, you can remind the company this is our mission. Going into the next deliverable, vision statement. I want to bring this one in because it's interesting to compare these two. Mission is very day to day. Here's what we're doing now. It's a little bit more practical. Okay. Vision statement is where we want to be. It's a little bit more ethereal. It's a little bit more emotional. It's a little bit more high level, right? Generally speaking. So it's important to have a mission statement. Here's where we are now. This is what we do. This is why it matters. And then our vision statement is this is where we want to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now. This is the legacy we want to leave. This is where we see ourselves, right? Just like setting personal goals, you need to understand where you are now. What are you doing now? Do an audit of that and be honest. This is our mission statement. And then where do we want to be? Once you have those two pinpoints, then you know the direction you can go, right? So you can see if you don't have one of these, if you just have a vision statement but no mission statement, it's going to be hard to know where you're starting and what you're doing now. If you have a mission but no vision, great, you know what you're doing now, but where are we ultimately going? Right. So you got to have both. The fourth deliverable is brand promise. There are a lot of great brand promises out there. FedEx comes to mind. I'm going to paraphrase this, but I believe their brand promises when it absolutely, positively must get there overnight, right? Domino's had one for a while that was, 30 minutes or less, or it's free. Your brand promises what is something that you can absolutely guarantee to your customers? What's something that you know you can execute on 100% of the time, every time? And are your employees on board with that? Right? Brand promise is what builds trust. It's what gets customers to believe in you. And it's something that your team has to buy into and say, guys, no matter what happens in our product or service, this thing we always deliver on. Right. So it can be more practical, like the Domino's example or the FedEx example, or it can be more emotional. It can be more abstract. All right. Second to last is the brand emotion drivers. This one's a little bit more complicated, but what is the brand emotion drivers, right? At the end of the day, we've heard this a quote or phrase that we buy based on emotion and we justify with logic for the most part, right? We really do. As human beings, we think that we might be buying based on price or features or widgets. But at the end of the day, we're buying a product or service because of how it will make us feel at the end of the day, right? So, for example, there's a lot of core emotions that you can play into. Does it elevate my status? Does it give me confidence? Does it alleviate pain? Does it give me peace of mind? Right? Does it bring me happiness or joy? There are some deep rooted human emotions that we all experience. And what you need to do as a brand is really identify what are the emotions that we want our customers to feel after having used our product or service, right? For example, Rolex, right, is a premium luxury brand. They're not solving a pain, right? It's not so much practical, it's a status, right? When I get a Rolex and I put it on and I show it to my friends, the emotion that that's driving is my status is elevated, right? My confidence is elevated. Therefore, that's going to drive a lot of their brand messaging and marketing, right? So ask yourself what these emotion drivers are. You can Google what these emotions are, and then you can kind of map across and say, which ones do we solve for? So you can lean into that. Okay, finally, is point number six, deliverable number six, an internal brand engagement program. I'll end by saying this. All these things I mentioned can be totally useless if you don't activate them and use them and reference them with your people all the time, right? There might be a perfect mission statement that you have developed. But if you and then you roll it out to your company once a year. You just announce it, and then the rest of the year, you never remember it again. You don't use it. You don't mention it in your one-to-ones or performance reviews. It's just collecting dust and it does nothing for you. So you get out of these internal brand deliverables what you put into them. So that's arguably the most important step that I see, especially startups and small businesses go wrong. They're like, oh, I've got a brand guide. We've got our mission statement and vision statement, but, and then it just sits there and collects dust. right? So, what are some practical things you can do in an internal brand engagement program? Number one, roll it out to your company, right? First, I recommend rolling it out to your leadership, explaining why it's important, explaining what it is, explaining how we use it in the day to day. So, step one is to roll it out to your leadership. Step two is roll it out to your company. Then it's about activating it and recalling back to it regularly. So, for example, print it out, right? Put it on the wall, put it in your employee handbook, put it in your pitch decks, put it on your website, put it in your welcome packages for new employees. Have it everywhere, right? It really does matter, right? The next recommendation would be call back to it regularly. If you have a company call, right? Maybe you give shout outs to employees. You can connect that to, hey, Becky did a great job handling that client fire. It was awesome to me because she really personified this core value that we have, right? So you can tie everything that you do back to your internal brand because that's just going to make it way more powerful and sticky for your people. And then finally, especially I would say in your one-to-one meetings with employees and team members, right? If you're giving someone a promotion, explain why, right? You're doing a great job. You're killing it with these KPIs. That's awesome because it's helping us accomplish our mission, which is boom, 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 right? Hey, I noticed that you're off track. This is kind of not a good thing. We need to fix this because the way that you're operating now is not in line with our vision. It's not what we want to do. And I want to help you get back in line with our vision. So call back to this internal brand for one-to-ones, performance reviews, hiring, firing, promotions, internships, et cetera, et cetera. So with this in mind, brand core, so important, right? We're building inside out brand discovery, brand research, brand DNA, brand core. The next chapter is where we pierce the veil and we start to talk about branding that your customers are going to experience, right? So you can see why this influences your brand messaging, which is coming next, and then eventually your brand visual identity, which if you do these things right, that will become so much easier. It almost starts to design itself. So good luck and tune in next time. Thank you.